I can do it better. I won't pretend that was easy. The average person in London spends around £2,850 to £3,400 a month just to exist. Rent, food, transport, bills. That's before you save anything, before you invest anything, and before you build anything. A lot of people move in here and ask the same question. How do you actually survive in London on a normal salary? The honest answer is, it's difficult and you have to be very careful, very careful. And today I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like for us, some of our actual numbers, our decisions, and few things about living in London that still catch me off guard, even after 3 years. Quick hello before we get into it. If this is your first time here, I'm happy you found it. And if you've been here before, thank you for coming back. This genuinely means a lot for me. And now, let's get into it. If you search how much do you need to live in London, most articles will tell you 3,500 to 4,000 a month to live comfortably, they say. My wife and I, we both work hard. That part isn't the issue, but lately I've been running into something I find difficult to put into the words. It feels like there is a ceiling on what I can earn and I can't quite break through it. So, the work is here, the effort is here, but the income doesn't scale the way the costs do. And costs in London, in most places honestly, keep climbing. The situation in the Middle East over the last couple of months, the situation has pushed the energy prices, supply chains, basically everything. It's not something you see on one bill. It's something you feel across all of them slowly, month by month. So, we make decisions, we build a spending strategy, not because it's fun, it's not fun, but because the alternative in a city this expensive means ending the months in deficit. And we are trying to save something. Not a lot, honestly, something, not much at all, but still something. And it brings me to the picture that I moved to London to trade one treadmill to a slightly more expensive one. It's funny. Or not. So, we economize and we compromise in some areas. And we are very deliberate about which areas those are. When my wife and I first arrived in England, we had a cultural shock. We couldn't afford a flat, not a full one. For more than a year, we rented a single room and the price was around £800. Just a room. It's someone else's house, sharing a kitchen, sharing a bathroom, 2 adults building a life inside about very small 8 square meters. I won't pretend that was easy, but I also won't pretend it wasn't the right call. Because that year what gave us a foundation to make better choices later. If you're thinking about moving to London or you just arrived, I want you to know that room sharing isn't a failure, it's just how it works here, it's okay. Even for people earning decent salaries. For some reason, nobody really talks about that part. And look, I once heard that Sherlock Holmes shared a flat with Dr. Watson for exactly the same reason. Even back then, London was eye-wateringly expensive. If it was good enough for the world's greatest detective, I think we can survive it. So, let's talk about numbers. We pay between 18 to 1900 pounds a month in rent, depending on the time of year. For London, that's not nothing. A lot of people hear that number and think, why not move further out? Zone 4 or even Zone 5, cheaper rent. And they are right, you can save 200 to 300 pounds a month on rent if you go further out. We looked at that option seriously. But here's the mess that changed our thinking. When you actually sit down with the numbers, you are not saving 300 pounds, you're just saving maybe 50 to 100 pounds, if that. And you are spending 2 hours every day on the tube instead of doing anything with your life. 2 hours a day. Over a working year, that's roughly 480 hours. It's like 20 full days and they are just gone. So we didn't just choose a flat, we bought back our time. And time at this stage of what we are building is more valuable to us than the rent saving. That might not be true for everyone, like up to you, but it's the logic that drives our biggest monthly expense. So let's go to the next one. A tube journey from Zone 4 into central London costs around £5 each way. Return trip every working day, that's about £10, sometimes more depending on the road. Over the working months, that's roughly 180 to 220 just on commuting. Before you eat, before you buy anything, and just to get to work and back. That's ridiculous. My first solution was a bicycle I found on Facebook Marketplace for £120. I will attach a photo here. And in fact, this bike paid for itself in 2 weeks of daily commuting to work. But you have to take into account that there are rainy days, and at that time it took me 15 kilometers each way. But I like this type of commuting, so I sold that bike a year later for £90 and bought a decent one for £500. And now, £500 sounds like a lot for a bike, but let me show you the numbers. After 3 months, the bike paid itself completely. Like every journey after that was free. And I was arriving at work having already moved my body, seen daylight, and not spent 20 minutes on the ground staring at someone's armpit. So, as I said, the bike paid for itself in less than 3 months, and it's still paying for itself every day. There is the kind of thinking that changed how we approach money here. So, not cutting everything, not depriving yourself, like just making one decision that quietly remove a recurring cost forever. The next question I want to talk about is the whiteboard which we have in our flat. It's not pretty, not aesthetic, but it's the thing that keeps us from guessing at where our money goes. These boards normally stay on this table, so we see it every day, and when we have some questions, like we always can look at this whiteboard and see what we are doing with our money this month. So every month we sit down together and write our every single expenses. All of it, like from biggest to the smallest. Rent at the top, then groceries, transport, subscriptions and services, like day-to-day purchases, and finally savings. Whatever's left or whatever's we are committed to putting aside. And then separately we have a column for significant purchases, like not things we are buying this month, but things we are planning for. I'm talking about items that need more thought, more savings, like more time, a longer horizon. And I want to be honest with you, my wife and I don't always agree on this. She genuinely enjoys shopping, like not recklessly, but she values quality and comfort in a way I sometimes have to remind myself to appreciate. And I'm the one who gravitates towards the spreadsheets, like the category breakdown, do we actually need this? I'm not going to pretend I'm any kind of financial expert. I'm genuinely not. There's so much in this space I still need to understand and need to learn. But what I can see clearly is that this simple habit of sitting down and mapping it all out has made a real difference. It helps us understand where the money actually goes. And slowly, month by month, it's teaching us how to manage it better. So, the actual numbers, finally. I will give you what a typical month looks like for us. So, normally we spend 18 to 1900 pounds for rent, 750 for grocery, 50 to 100 pounds for transport, 40 pounds for gym membership, 65 pounds roughly for 2 phones, maybe 100 pounds for going out, also subscriptions which include YouTube Premium, Gemini Cloud, it's roughly 70 pounds, shopping 100 pounds, and totally it's around 3,000 pounds. And I want to spend a second on streaming services, because people always ask, we don't have Netflix, Spotify, or stuff like this, only YouTube Premium. Not because we can't afford it, but because we decided we don't want to pay for things we don't actively choose to use. A subscription you forget, you have with just money living quietly. That small action, like having a actively decide, stops us from mindlessly consuming things which are not really necessary. People ask me this directly sometimes, is London worth it? And I would like to say, for career growth, for professional experience, to being in a city that moves fast and opens doors, yes, genuinely yes. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing and building what I'm building without the time I've spent here. But for building a comfortable family life, a calm one, a life that has space in it, that's a harder question. The cost of space in London, like physical space, mental space, or financial space, it's genuinely very high. You pay for everything here. You pay for the privilege of being tired in an expensive city, which is ridiculous. London is the best place I've lived for building skills, but at the same time, it's not the place I want to spend the rest of my life. My wife and I have a plan. We are not staying indefinitely, and London for us it's just a chapter, a useful, formative, demanding chapter. But we are working forward something smaller, and I mean smaller town, smaller pace, lower costs, and more space to actually live in rather than just operate in. The budget we keep now, the discipline of it, is directly connected to that plan. And every month we don't overspend. It's a month closer to having the option to live on our own terms. That's why the whiteboard exists. That's why we care about the numbers. Not because we enjoy deprivation, but because we know what we are saving forward. We don't have it all figured out. The number shifts every month. Some months we overspend on food, some months the bike needs fixing, and some months something unexpected happens. It's life. But we have a system which works in the long terms. I'll keep updating this as the numbers change. Next time I will share what happened when we tried to cut groceries and failed completely. Apparently 750 is where we live. One last question before you go. What's the biggest financial challenge you are dealing with right now? I read every comment. I'm curious whether it's the same things we are struggling with or something completely different. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section. Also, click like if you really like this video, and thank you for being with me. See you next time. So we didn't just 480. It's 480. My first solution was a bicycle I found on Amazon. Why Amazon? So I sold this bike a year later for 19 pounds and for 90 pounds. Oh, sorry. Even back then, London was eye-wateringly, how to say it? Eye-wateringly expensive. If it was good enough,